Mike Lindell was able to previously leverage the Entrepreneurship 101 playbook, reaching levels of commercial success that most founders can only dream about. But does the MyPillow Guy really think revisiting that familiar strategy will be effective once again? Most successful entrepreneurs share a common thread. They solve personal pain points, seize opportunities others overlook, and remain committed to refining that idea into something impactful. And while you might dislike Mike Lindell for a variety of personal reasons, including the outwardness of his political affiliation, can we agree to temporarily separate the man from businessman and respect his journey? But while I don't want to get into some lengthy dissertation on the last half century of the Mike Lindell story, a bit of background is contextually valuable when I begin analyzing his newest venture in the next section of this content. According to numerous Mike Lindell interviews, his struggles with poor sleep started relatively young, even causing him to purchase an expensive pillow in the late 1970s that cost about one paycheck. But it would take another 27 years before Mike Lindell began building his bedding empire from scratch. The idea for MyPillow, a pillow that would hold its shape through its foam design, supposedly originated from a random dream in 2004. Though convinced the dream came from God, he dove headfirst into the project with his son, spending hours cutting up foam and testing configurations. Eventually, the pillows would successfully hold its shape, and Mike Lindell produced several dozen MyPillow items, attempting to sell them directly to the local Bed Bath & Beyond store. When he was rejected by that retailer, Mike Lindell decided to set up a kiosk in the mall during Christmas, but he was only marginally successful selling what he claimed was the best pillow in the world. And this mall kiosk business went on for the next, 6 years, and he saw a bit of growth and media attention, but everything changed when Mike Lindell made a television infomercial for MyPillow in 2011. By the end of the year, the success of those infomercials catapulted the company from 5 employees generating about $3 million to 500 employees generating just over $100 million. By 2018, MyPillow had spent $100 million on infomercials and at its peak employing close to 1,500 people, selling 30 million pillows and reaching annual revenue levels of nearly $300 million. But that doesn't mean Mike Lindell's business dream didn't include its fair share of nightmares, especially more recently, as numerous settled or still ongoing lawsuits have gotten progressively more negatively impactful. And just to double down on what I stated earlier, there are a million information sources that can be found on the Google machine detailing his passionate political support, various mostly personal legal matters relating to those political beliefs, and linked business struggles. But my content is only focused on the initial successful growth portion of the Mike Lindell business journey. But that's only because, as you'll hear next, it's the most applicable portion when examining his newest venture, Rev7 energy drink. Though, with me revealing that, are you having the same what the fuck moment I had when learning about Mike Lindell shifting from non-ingestible sleep products to ingestible energy drinks? As I've mentioned in previous content pieces, I'm a big fan of deconstructing the core mechanics behind different business models to see what makes them successful or not. It means dissecting how various companies generate revenue, understanding their value propositions, identifying their target markets, and examining the various strategies they use to deliver products. But I arguably have the most fun when analyzing companies that are generally outside of, but due to some recent strategic decision, is now entering my deep domain expertise, which is the emerging and intersecting CPG categories of functional foods, functional beverages, and nutritional supplements. And while I've seen my share of mismatched things over the last 15 years working deeply within the energy beverages space across the various product formats, I'll fully admit that the Mike Lindell, MyPillow, and Rev7 energy drink strategic decision still has me a bit puzzled. But in hopes of making at least some sense of it, let's go back to those early MyPillow years so I can fill in a gap of the Mike Lindell story that I intentionally left out. In his memoir, Mike Lindell described himself as a pretty hardcore cocaine addict that eventually got clean in January 2009. And as wild as my next statement might sound, what if the Rev7 energy drink is Mike Lindell taking strategic inspiration from his previous entrepreneurship 101 playbook that saw him turn personal struggle into professional success. Also, I hate feeling this need to preface everything I'll say next because people on the internet like to misconstrue statements, but I'm fully aware addict is a loaded word. And while I usually don't openly talk about this stuff, there's a deep history on each side of my family surrounding both hard drugs and alcohol. So please don't assume I have some out of touch traditionalist perspective either. People aren't static, vulnerabilities can improve over time. Moreover, believing that people have ingrained addictive personalities is a terribly limiting mindset. Yet, perhaps based on some combination of their neurochemistry and physiological makeup, people who are addicted tend to have a particular affinity for substances that have similar effects. And again, I'm not saying something absurd like the mechanism of action between cocaine and caffeine are identical either. Instead, I'm just connecting the dots that both substances act directly on the dopamine system. Moreover, those past substance abuse struggles could be what's allowing Mike Lindell to seize this opportunity others have overlooked, and could be what dedicates him to refining that beverage concept into something impactful. Because here's a potentially interesting tidbit. Rev7 does not contain any caffeine. Instead, the energy drink is powered by Go BHB ketones and my favorite brain energy ingredient, cognizin citicoline. And while I haven't seen Mike Lindell utilize this storytelling strategy yet, that product development choice, if highly intentional, to omit caffeine and how the ingredient shares a neurophysiological impact with his previous addiction could be what makes his audience and beyond understand this isn't just another soulless my coffee type sales pitch from a few years ago. Therefore, if this initial challenge around brand authenticity isn't solved quickly, the likelihood of Rev7 energy drink reaching any meaningful level of beverage industry success is quite low, in my opinion. And that ultimately means not enough of the marketplace will get to experience this unique functional beverage, which could be the tragedy of this whole Rev7 energy drink concept. My assumption from looking at the overall product composition and knowing several of the key business stakeholders involved with bringing the Rev7 energy drink to life, this beverage resembles the promotional beverage Expo Energy that was originally sampled at the 2024 Supply Side West event. And if that's indeed the case, I'm convinced even the biggest Mike Lindell haters would enjoy the liquid within the can, from its functionality to the taste. But I just wanted to end with a quick final thought. As I was researching his background and getting acquainted with the contemporary news involving Mike Lindell, it was hard not to acknowledge similarities with Jack Owoc, the founder and previous CEO of Bang Energy. And I'm not sure if these guys have ever met, but they are the same age, same political stance, same if not very similar religious faith, same salesmanship and self-promotion ability, very similar business arcs experienced in current stage of it, and probably a bunch more, including both guys competing within the functional beverages market with energy drinks that contain cognizin. But I hope you enjoyed the first principles thinking that went into my latest YouTube video. If you did, can you do me a favor by hitting that like button? That quick and free action helps YouTube know my content is worth spreading to more people. Also, we're getting really close to reaching my next subscriber goal, and it would be great if you join me on this journey. But to do that, we need to fix the fact that slightly more than 3/4 of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and that hurts my feelings. Regardless, I want to thank you for giving me some of your attention and time, and I'll see you on the next one.